Welcome to the channel, guys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. And you get to see all my other content I've done already and see my future content as well. So join the gang. You'd be very welcome. Now, those of you who know me already, I've done a lot of Chinese homage watches, and I have in the past done some videos on some of my Swiss timepieces. So more of that will be coming, I do promise you. I've got some more Casios, lots of other interesting pieces. I've got some Midos, some Oris, I've got some few Seikos, and that's leading me on to this video, which is for one of the best value for money watches you can get. And that is the Seiko SNK. It's a Seiko 5. And the SNK809 specifically, because the 809 signifies the colorway, and I went for the black one. Now, apparently on Amazon.com in America, this is the best-selling automatic watch on there. These sell by the bazillion. They are incredible. And I thought, I've had one before. I've had two actually. I've had a blue dial and I've had a green dial. So I thought, I've got to get one back again. I miss it. I do actually miss it. Of all the watches I've had, it's the one I regret selling. And I'm so glad I got this one again. So thanks for watching this video. I'm going to give you some information about Seiko, Seiko 5, the SNK, and a bit about the modding scene, which is amazing for these watches. And I'll show you some links I found, and I've got some ideas for this watch coming up, which I definitely want to be doing. Make this a really unique piece. It's a really cost-effective way to have some fun. So thanks for watching. Roll intro. Now, before I move on to the stats and specs, etc. of this beautiful watch, the things that I will be discussing with you from the next few minutes are going to be about the history behind Seiko. And I'm going to discuss Seiko 5, as it has a 5 on the dial. Now, the importance of that is going to give you a bit of context so that when I go into more detail about this watch, you can look at it with the appreciation of the history behind this watch, behind the brand, and behind the significance this timepiece is within the horological world, and the fact that it's around £100, often less. I paid £78 on Amazon, and there was no import fees. It's fantastic buying watches like this from Amazon, because there's often all those kind of fees and delivery and anything you might find that's unexpected is all included in the price. And I waited just over 10 days for this, so it was worth the wait, definitely, considering the price. So I'm going to discuss now with you some history behind all this, so you have some context as to why this is such a special timepiece. So historically, Seiko has been around since 1881 effectively. So Kintaro Hattori, picture of him here, in Tokyo, Japan, he set up a jewelry and watch shop, clocks primarily. So he started making clocks in 1892. And in 1892, he would brand his clocks under the name Seiko Sha. And that translates to House of Exquisite Workmanship. So that's a good start already. Now, it wasn't until 1924 that wristwatch production actually began. And that's where Seiko began. It was the watch brand, effectively. It wasn't Seiko Sha, it wasn't anything else, it was Seiko. Now, the 5 was introduced many years later, as in 1963, because 5 actually indicates there are 5 key innovations. And the first one will be date and day complication. Now this one has that. It has an in-house auto. Check, this has in-house auto. Let's clean the glass a bit. Then it has to have water resistance. Not much, but it has it. And I can't prove this. I'm not going to try and break it, but it has a unbreakable Diaflex mainspring, which sounds really cool. Then there's the recessed crown at 4 o'clock. There you go. So there's your 5. Now, This watch is your horological bang for buck, because there are many watches I've reviewed on this channel, and please check out the other reviews if you like to see about good value for money watches and what you can get for your money. The reason why I was so keen on showing this watch on the channel, because many people have reviewed this watch. It's one of those watches which is a bit of a YouTube celebrity. It's a horological celebrity for many reasons, and that is because the bang for buck you get is incredible. Because as I've already just briefly discussed, there is a lot of history and a lot of things that have gone along in the past in regards to Seiko, what they've achieved, what their watches are capable of, and how accessible they are to your average person. And it's one of those lovely timepieces. This will compete with regards to how much it costs to many Chinese-made timepieces. But those Chinese-made timepieces, as incredible as they are, they don't have any history behind them, and they don't have any originality, unless you're buying something like a Seagull and the other original Chinese watch manufactured brands. So when you're looking at buying into a Seiko is a way of getting into, in terms of horological history, something that is affordable. You can slap it on your wrist and you're looking at something that has a lineage that goes back well over 100 years, and you can be proud to wear a timepiece which costs very little, that has a lot of unique and exciting features. So that is what I'm going to move on to next with this beautiful timepiece. So this part of the video is going to be a little bit more the stats and the specs, etc. of this watch, because it's hard to gauge the features of this watch and the stats, etc. from looking at a flat screen. So I'll do my best to present this watch to you so you get a better understanding of what you're getting. Now, we'll start with the aesthetics. Now, what you're getting is obviously a bit of a field watch, pilot style watch, but due to the dimensions of the case, it's not a traditional pilot style watch size for the case size. This is approximately 38mm. That's quite petite when it comes to especially pilot watches. They should be 40mm plus, without a shadow of a doubt. But this works because aesthetically, the beauty of pilot watches, which I hope many of you would agree, is their legibility is incredible. I just love the dial design of this because it focuses on the inner ring, which the hands line up beautifully with, is your hours. And then the outer ring, which the minute hand lines up beautifully with, is for your minutes. That's beautiful. It's so crisp, so clear. It's a kind of watch you can glance at and you can read the time. So when it comes to the design of this watch, it's purely functional, but it just works aesthetically as well as something that is very attractive, in my opinion, because it's got nice enough amount of balance and detail to the text and the information, so it doesn't look cluttered, but it has just what you need to know. Some fliegers can look quite bland, but the incorporation of the Seiko and the Seiko 5, the date complication, and automatic 21 jewels on there just takes it up a notch. And then the fact we've got a lovely little bit of red tip on the seconds hand with a counterweight at the other end with a loom pip in it adds a bit of class and their own unique bit of style. It's not your standard flieger with the obvious sword hands, which this does have, but there's a little unique twist with the design with regards to the seconds hand, which I love. Now, aesthetically, we've covered that, and then we're moving on to the fact it is a petite size. It's quite a chunky little watch, though, because I've said before, it's 38mm. As I said, 38mm is the case size. It's going to show you the thickness. 10.4 is not too bad, but I think considering it's quite a small case size and the lug to lug, which is the length of the watch, is only 42.9, it seems to look like a little bit of a chunky monkey, only a little bit. So what happens is when you put this on a NATO strap, which is where you get the extra bit of material underneath, and would be quite in keeping with the design of this type of watch, sort of the field style watch. From my experience with the other ones I've owned, is it does feel a little bit top heavy. because it's propped up an extra few millimeters by the material when you wear it on a NATO. So what I recommend for this type of watch, it works really well with, I'm just going to pop a picture up of it on a vintage style leather strap. Now, reason why I think leather would work with this better than this frankly borderline not very nice strap, I'd say I've seen worse, but it's not great. The reason why I'd recommend leather is because this isn't a hugely waterproof watch. 30 mil, that's not very deep, 30 meters water resistance, which is effectively splash proof, is not designed really to get very wet at all. So if you know that in your mind, you think, well, what's the point of having it on some kind of super duper tough nylon rugged ballistic style military strap, when you think, well, it's not going to survive much more than a light bit of drizzle. So I'd recommend put it on a nice leather strap, and it will complement the vintage look, the pilot look, and things like that. So 18 mil lug width is the only other sort of little niggle with these. Is yes, it's in proportion with the 38 mil case size, but 18 mil is quite skinny. So I was going to pop it now on my totally average, from what I understand, 7-inch wrist. And then you'll get an idea of how it looks on my average wrist. And there it is. I'd say 7-inch wrist is relatively skinny, in my opinion. But this works. I think it's spot on. It is a slightly petite looking watch, but it's not something that is meant to be jumping out and saying, look at me. This is a good functional watch you can be proud to wear. Now, the strap is something that is often criticised, and I can see why, because when you're trying to put the strap on, this extra leathery, I say leathery, I don't know what animal it's made of, I'm not even going to think about it, but whatever that's made of, snags when you're putting it in. It's just a bit stiff and awkward. You know, when you're sliding it on your wrist, it's a bit, just feels a bit unusual. This is cool. I do like this. I do like the bead blasted finish on everything, and the Seiko branding on here. Get some focus eventually. There we go. Yes, that's really nice. I do like it when they go to that little extra level of attention. Now, I'd say just, you could probably live with this strap. I've seen a lot worse. You could definitely live with it. But why not change it out for a leather? I'm not saying this because I have any affiliation. I'm just a strap lover, and I'm always changing the straps. Go to these guys here, Watch Gecko. They have an amazing range of straps that you could easily choose that perfectly fit your watch. So you go, okay, I'll get one of these, get it for less than 100 quid, spend a bit more, get a gorgeous strap for it, and you can make it look like that previous picture I showed you. I'll pop it up again. With it on a vintage style brown leather with the cream stitching, it just looks so good. And that's the beauty of, when you've got this black dial on this version, it's so easy to change out the straps, and it just works on so many different colorways. You can have so much choice with your watch. That's why this could be, if you just want a automatic watch and you want to go, you know, for 100 quid, I want a one-piece collection watch that kind of does everything. Obviously you can't get it too wet, but if your day-to-day life, you don't have to worry about that. You can really make this watch work for so many situations for you. That's probably why it's been so popular. And another reason why it's been so popular is because the main reason why this is a horological gem is the fact it has an in-house movement. Beautiful automatic movement. It's a very entry-level movement. Now, if you've not had an automatic watch before, you're going to be excited about having a exhibition case back anyway, to see all the workings of a mechanical timepiece. And this is the first mechanical watch I bought a number of years ago, and I was so excited to be able to see the movement in the back. And that's still something I appreciate even on this watch, knowing that this watch does very little in terms of automatic movement spec. Now, by that I mean, yes, it's good, it has the day and the date complication, but the things that we all like as watch enthusiasts is there's no hacking, which is when you pull the crown out, the seconds still keep on ticking, so you can't set your timing absolutely spot on. There's no hand winding, so when it's in its innermost position, you can't wind it. You can't turn the crown and charge up the movement so it has enough energy to keep on ticking. You have to do the Seiko wobble or the Seiko shake, which is this, about 30 seconds. If it's running low and you haven't worn it for a few days, apologies for anyone watching this who might have wobbly eye syndrome, but this is what people, so many millions of people out there with these watches going, yeah, I've worn it for the weekend because I wore something else, or I haven't worn my watch, I've just got to do this. It's totally normal for this watch because it doesn't have hacking. That's what, no, it's not hacking, hand winding. That's why people like a hand winding watch, unless you're quite partial to a bit of this. Now, before I get too silly, that's the other things you must consider when you're buying an entry-level automatic. This hasn't been handmade. This watch has been machined by an automated process, hence why they can make these watches so cheap. They have incredible sophisticated machinery in the Seiko factory, be it in Japan or, but this movement is very likely to be Malaysia. And what they do is they press a button, beep, 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 and this machine, as incredible as it is, it will effectively do most of the work at making this movement. So horologically, it's not up there with the, I've got a handmade movement, because those kind of watches cost more than a house. This has got a movement that you can enjoy looking at, and you can say you've got an automatic timepiece. Even though it's been made by a machine, it's still nice to have something with a beating heart. Has a 40-hour power reserve. It's a lowish frequency, 3 Hertz frequency movement, which is your absolute standard for this kind of level. It's going to be very low maintenance. They're accurate to a degree, but they can be regulated. I just like anything with ated at the end. So there is the plus and the minus in there, and that can be tweaked if you find your movement's not running great. These aren't notoriously super accurate, but you can modify that by taking the back off, screw case back, and then you can tweak it if you're that way inclined. You don't have to worry about losing its water resistance because it's puddle resistant anyway. That's about it. So yeah, it's something you can tinker with. So in regards to tinkering, that leads me on to the next bit, which is the modding scene. And the modding scene for these kind of watches is big. And I'm going to run through that with you now. So let's take a look. So for all you fellow tinkerers out there, if you're not happy with the Hardlex glass, which is unlikely you will be on your Seiko, why not get a Sapphire Upgrade? Now, you can do this yourself. It could be fiddly and there's potential of breakage, but it's worth persevering. There are guides online. I'm looking to do this on mine because I've got a few bits and bobs where I can change it. And it's not much money, £26.50. I know it's a cheap watch anyway, but this is really taking it to the next level, really. You've got dome sapphire, choice of coatings on the underside, blue or clear. Then you can change the dial as well. These guys have got a fantastic range of different dials. You can go for more of a diver style. Then you've got sunburst effect divers. Then you've got original pilot style without the date complication. These guys sell hands as well, so you can change the hands. Then, if you want to take it to the next level for a bit more of an art theme on your watch, there's some beautiful, these are a lot more money. These almost cost as much as the watch. So this is top-end stuff for a Seiko, in my opinion. I know there's probably people that do even more top-end stuff with diamonds and unicorn horn and things like that. But this is a reasonable enough price for you to really treat yourself if you want to. You've got Grey Wave off Kanagawa, and you've got the Van Gogh artwork as well. And then you've got these more neutral pilot designs you can go for. Then you've got the diver's dial from an SKX007. There's another one there. And then we finish off with a nice pilot style. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I thoroughly enjoyed making it. If you've enjoyed it, please subscribe. Thanks so much. Bye for now.